Hi, Lisa Schermerhorn here on the Grassroots Warrior Network, and I am so excited to introduce you to a very dear friend of mine, Lori Daniels Falk. She's an incredible artist. Number one, we're going to talk about that, but she's a thought leader, health and wellness coach, and visual artist for over 20 years. She's extraordinary in her talents, and she's going to tell us much more. And an amazing visionary. She's actually working on a couple things, so I can't wait for you all to hear about everything that she is involved in. So this is the premiere. You're going to tell everyone about this amazing idea that you have. So welcome.
Thank you, Lisa. It's an honor to be here. I'm delighted to be spending some time with you this afternoon. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, of course, of course. So you have an initiative that you're working on, and we were just talking about this, and I am really excited. I think this is an amazing, amazing idea that you have.
Well, thank you. I'm beyond I'm beyond thrilled to be taking a vision that I've had for over a decade and to actually be finally launching it out into the world in a bigger way is so important. And it's really interesting because I think back on my life and I'm often asked, when did I become an artist? And it's not like I woke up as a kid and said, I'm going to be an artist someday. That was not it at all. I actually wanted to be a psychologist and help people on the inside. Well, I ended up through a set of circumstances, mostly that my parents told me I wasn't going to have to be, employed. So they weren't sending me to get a master's degree because my husband would support me. Nonetheless,
Exactly.
nonetheless, I
Mm.
ended up in the fashion industry. And really, when you think about clothing, what is clothing? It's an art form, right?
Yes.
That to me was the exciting part of it. But because that art form of clothing is very much more superficial, certainly clothing makes the person and it's, important in first impressions and all those things, but it's not really helping people on the inside. Maybe giving them a little more self-confidence
Right.
because of the way they look on a specific day, but it's really not healing them on the inside. So that desire in me of being a psychologist is what ultimately led me out of the fashion industry and into becoming a health and wellness coach. And then I kept getting this like divine guidance, if you will, intuitive hits to draw. Like, I'm like, why? Why me? Why me?
Right.
So,
Because you were not, you never thought of yourself as an artist, did you?
oh, no, never, never. I really didn't. And I didn't have that burning desire that a lot of artists have. Oh my God, I just got to paint. I mean, I do today,
Yeah.
that's different. I've been doing it for a couple of decades. Um, and it's so healing. So here I am at this crossroads in my life. I'm moving out of the fashion industry. I'm a health and wellness coach, and I'm getting this information to draw. And simultaneously, in the midst of all this, I meet Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's the grandfather of epigenetics, right?
Yeah. He's
So
amazing.
I know. So I'm studying with Bruce. I'm I've I'm working with my clients as health and wellness coach, and I'm doing this art. And in my brain, I'm like, what is wrong with me? None of this is making any sense. I had no background in science, no background in art. And today I can tell you that my dear friend Ken Close and I call ourselves your favorite epigenetic geeks on our podcast because I am so far down the rabbit hole of epigenetics and the science behind all of this. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so while I don't have that traditional training in any of this, and it all just kind of fell into my lap, it's given me a profound understanding of the healing powers of art.
Right. Because for people to understand epigenetics a little bit, there was actually a study that was done on mice for people to get an understanding of this, that they took these mice and they had them smell a particular smell. And every time they smelled that smell, they would give them an electric shock. Well, their grandpups would just smell that smell and run
Oh,
without ever getting the electric shock. So, this is the power of your genetics, your genes, and how these behaviors can even get passed down generational. So when you have something that impacts you, that's changing you at a survival rate, right? And then that becomes part of you, but it is changeable, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we've heard for years about how we carry our parents and grandparents and ancestors' physical DNA, right?
Yes.
The family history of X, Y, or Z disease.
Right.
But nobody's ever talked about the fact that we actually carry the epigenetic emotional DNA of our parents, grandparents, and ancestors as well.
Right.
So now that we understand that, that's all the stuff that's in our subconscious. You
Yes.
came in with all their old limiting beliefs and programs. I mean, it's like not bad enough we have to carry our own stuff. Now we have to carry all that stuff. And the beauty is that we live in an era where that's fixer upable. That's how I like to
Yes.
put it, right? Use our favorite little Healy devices and
Yeah.
clear up that stuff.
Yeah,
So
the Healy's amazing. And that is a quantum technology that helps adjust your own energy and frequency to help you would you say heal? I don't know what they
clear. I like the word clear,
clear.
right?
Yeah.
So it goes in and it finds what your biggest blocks are emotionally. And once it finds them, it's running energy through the quantum field. It's biofeedback. For those
Right.
of you out
Right.
in the our viewing audience who are familiar with that, it's a biofeedback device. And if you understand that, it makes it easier to comprehend.
Right.
So it's finding what's in the energy field of the subconscious, and it's telling you what the top priorities are. But the beauty of this device is that it then goes and sends frequencies back into the field to shake that stuff loose. Because what happens most of the time when you're working with someone as a coach is that you'll find what's blocking them. Takes a few months because they're like in resistance mode. And then when you finally find it, they're like, oh, yeah, I got to get rid of that. Oh, until they realize that getting rid of it is like giving up a comfortable old shoe. And then they
Yeah.
hang on for dear life.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do that when you're using a biofeedback device because it's literally going and shaking the old stuff loose to the point where they'll wake up one day and go, I feel different. And they're now reacting differently.
Yeah.
So, and that's the key piece because 90 to 98% of the time, everyone is reacting based upon that subconscious programming. So if you
Exactly.
don't know it's in there, you can't fix it. Yeah,
Exactly.
I get very excited about epigenetics. So when you think about it, ev it used to be we thought that if you had this physical DNA, that meant this was going to happen. You're going to have blue eyes, blonde hair, and
Right.
have whatever issue. That's not true because the DNA, those genes don't have a brain and they can't turn themselves on or off. So it's the environment surrounding that gene that determines whether it will or will not be turned on.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful. So how do we control that environment? Diet, exercise, more importantly, clearing up the subconscious so that we have better thoughts, so that they set off better emotions, so that they set off healthy chemical reactions instead of fear-based chemical reactions. And then it doesn't turn on the bad genes and it activates only the good gene. And
Yeah.
in a nutshell, that's epigenetics.
And a
Very simple.
way, yeah, and a way to tell that it is epigenetics is if you see patterns in the family. Like you'll see siblings or cousins all exhibiting similar types of behaviors, then they're like, oh, this is programmed into the genetics. And whether or not, so one person can have a traumatic experience that can set it off, and another, that's why you might have some siblings that will have certain behaviors and others that don't. And it also depends on their coping mechanism and how much work they've done on themselves and how they choose to express it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that what
Yeah,
you just said is so key. How much work they've done on themselves,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because if you've gone in and done 20 years of personal growth work and your siblings haven't, the way you interact in the world is going to be entirely
it's
different.
very different. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
so then you look at art. Art impacts your emotional field 1,000%. I mean, this has scientifically been studied.
right.
So
Well, your
So,
art in particular, how you started out, that which is a really, really special thing. And you were involved with Hay House, correct?
yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. You know, as I said, I was kind of divinely inspired to do this art, and I created custom portraits for individuals that became like a healing piece for them. It would help them heal their subconscious, it would help them heal their emotions, whatever was going on with them. And so I witnessed this firsthand for years. And now, since I didn't necessarily want to become an artist, I had a friend who had a biofeedback device with a prayer wheel on it. And I said, can we put something in the prayer wheel for me, which meant that it was going to be sent into the field 24/7. And I said, I'll buy into this whole art thing, but I want to be internationally renowned for my art and I want to be well paid and make a lot of money doing it in my lifetime. I don't want to be one of these artists that they die and all of a sudden their art's worth millions. Nope, it's going to happen while I'm here on this planet. Thank you very much. And so we put that out into the biofeedback machine. And shortly thereafter, I got affiliated with Hay House Publishing Company and toured the country with them doing their shows.
So for people to understand, Hay House is like impossible to get connected to. It's really, really hard. I mean, that's magical.
Yeah, 100%. It was I know it was divinely guided. I was divinely guided to a business manager that actually recommended it. And all I did in the back end was create the website, the art, and then the website. She sent the website to Hay House and they went, yes, immediately. It was like so easy. It was, when
Wow.
it's that easy, you know it's a God thing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's honestly, Lisa, that's how I've gotten art into 26 countries was from the exposure that I received at those events.
Yeah,
So
amazing. So you would literally sit down and start to channel a particular angel or an image that would actually was meant for that particular person to help them heal. Was that right?
yeah, you could definitely say that. I mean, it's kind of like I think most artists are quote unquote channeling
I
divine
agree.
wisdom when
Yeah.
they're doing their art and they aren't even aware of it. I mean, a visionary artist, not someone
Yes.
who's just painting um the centerpiece on the table. That's
Right.
not the kind of art we're talking about. But when you just open up to higher consciousness, it's like your crown chakra
Yeah.
right up here, and this wisdom just comes right in, goes through your heart, down your arm, and into the brush. I sit down to do a piece of art. I have no idea what it's going to look like when I'm done. Absolutely zip zero nada. And my father was the exact other kind of artist, and he just was blown away. He's like, I don't get it, Lorianne. How the heck do you do that? And I'm like, it's a God thing. All I could say, it's a God thing. So, but thank God I was chosen and asked to do this because the way my brain ended up running and my understanding of all this. So I'm coaching people, I'm creating this art for them, I'm watching them evolve and grow and heal. And now I'm studying with Bruce Lipton and I'm going, art is an epigenetic healing tool.
Yeah.
Art is simply an epigenetic healing tool whose time has come.
Yeah.
And then because I wrote an article about art as an epigenetic healing tool and got published in the American Cancer Executives newsletter in
Amazing.
2015.
Amazing.
It, again, a God thing, right?
Yep.
That I happen to know someone who submitted the article for me and it was published like that.
Incredible because there's still a lot of skeptics around anything that's other than conventional medical. So that's extraordinary.
Right. But listen to this. This is the quote that I ended this article with, and I think it's extraordinary. Medicine can do extraordinary things today. With the arts, it can do more, stated Jill Sonke, director of University of Florida Center for the Arts in Medicine, when she spoke at a recent TEDx event. Put simply, art changes us. As art and healing merge, the field of art will be changed and the field of medicine will be changed forevermore.
Yeah. It's powerful words.
It is. And then
Yeah,
that's coming from someone who's a medical professional.
right. Amazing. So, when you think about, and we talked about this before, when you think about when someone walks into a hospital or a medical place, it's very sterile. And I know you have, I don't know if you want to show the photos.
I could, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
But
just
just to
too
show the
to
difference.
give it
Yeah,
right. That because the picture paints a thousand words, right?
exactly.
So, here's a typical setting that you walk into when you walk into a hospital.
Yeah.
Very sterile,
And
nothing on the walls.
for those people to really think about, if you were to look at that and scan your own body and feel what it feels like to walk into that, you kind of get a little rigid. Maybe some fear comes in. I have a fear of needles, so immediately tenses me up.
100%, 100%. And not to mention when you go there, something is already wrong or you wouldn't be
Yes.
there. And
Yeah,
so you're scared to begin with. And now you're walking into this sterile environment and I mean, that just looking at that picture scares me,
it does. It does.
right?
Yep.
Now there are a lot of hospitals out there that are starting to shift this. And there are a lot of hospitals that are putting beautiful art into their hospitals
Yeah.
and medical centers. So look at that. I mean, that obviously one was more of a ward and this is a
Right.
hallway, but you get the drift here.
Yeah.
The brightness and the brilliance of the colors, the walls being yellow and all those beautiful flowers, just doesn't that make you just exhale?
And there's a whole science behind the psychology of color and how it
Right.
impacts us. So the difference between that stark white and yellow versus blue and green and all of the colors. So, yeah, that's very soothing and inviting.
Very inviting. Very, very, very inviting. And what gets even more fascinating is because I wrote that article in 2015, and before we were going to do this
Yeah.
initiative, I wanted to do a little more research and say, okay, well, what's happened in the last decade? And some of the studies being done, and these are being done internationally. Internationally, this was the most fascinating one. Studies show that when art is integrated into hospital environments, recovery rates can increase dramatically. In some cases, from around 40% to over 75%.
That's insane. Like,
I
that's an
mean,
incredible number. That's a no-brainer for, a coat of paint and some beautiful art on the wall.
well, which means that art's no longer optional.
Right.
If you really are signing an oath to help people heal,
Yeah.
art is no longer optional.
Right.
And
That's significant.
I'll give you an example that something that happened in my own life just recently. So, a very dear friend of mine was diagnosed with cancer, stage one, but cancer nonetheless. No one
Yeah.
ever wants to hear that word.
Yeah.
And as soon as she found out that she was diagnosed, I said, okay, well, as your friend, I'm telling you, you are no longer allowed to go to any doctor's appointments alone
Yeah.
because you'll be overwhelmed. And she said, well, there's only one person I would want to go with me, and that's you. Well, I'm her health coach, so that
Right.
made sense, right?
Right.
So I agreed. Now, dial it back to when I was only 23, my mom died of cancer.
Wow.
So I had been in those medical centers a long time ago. Just let's just say decades. We don't want to really tell everyone how old I am. So let's just say a while ago. And nothing had changed. I walked into Frederick Hospital here in the Milwaukee area, and it was the same thing. You were walking through there and looking at people who had lost their hair because of chemo and radiation, and people were totally in fear. And maybe there were some positive sayings on the walls, but the minute you walked into a treatment room, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And Debbie told me one day that um, she had gone in for a CT scan or something. And she literally sat in this cold, frigid room in a tiny little gown, freezing like crazy, waiting 40
Yeah.
minutes and nothing was on the walls.
Yeah.
And she just sat there worrying. And then she chose to do a holistic route. So we found an amazing, like 6,000 square foot healing center right here in the area that
Yeah.
has 28 different holistic modalities. And the minute you walk in the foyer, ah, huge angel behind the desk. And you just knew you were safe.
Yeah.
You knew. And the whole place is filled with beautiful, amazing, calming, uplifting, and in some cases, even spiritual artwork, which is
Yeah.
unusual for medical centers,
Right.
not for this one. And you just feel calm. And she goes there. She probably spends 10 hours a week there getting different treatments. And every room she's in, she's calm, she's happy, she's at ease, and she knows she's healing.
Yeah.
The people sitting in the hospitals with the blank walls don't think they're healing, they're scared.
Yeah.
Now, here's the key: you can't heal if your body's in fight or flight.
True.
You've got to calm the nervous system down to the point that it's in the parasympathetic
Yeah.
system. And now, instead of all this adrenaline going towards how am I going to get out of here? How am I going to survive this? The body's doing what it is designed to do, which is to heal.
Yeah.
I hate to say it's that simple, but it is that simple.
No, it can be. It
You
can
can't.
be. A lot of it has to do with people's mindset, but if you're aiding their mindset to be, out of that fight or flight, that's half the battle. It
It is.
really is.
It is. And now when we've got statistics that show that recovery rates can increase from 40 to 75%, we don't have the luxury
Yeah.
of not considering this because
No,
it's
it's
actually part
amazing.
of the treatment, right?
Right. So, I know this is your dream. How do you get this into action? How do you get to the hospitals or these different places to, really, you know, get this out there?
Well, 10 years ago, when I first started this, being the aggressive, assertive person I am, I'm like calling hospitals. Well, what did I find out? Every single hospital or medical center does it differently. Some it's the, art director, the curator, some it's the interior designer, some it's the architectural firm, some of them it's the president of the company. Everybody
Right.
operates differently. So that's probably where things kind of flatlined for me was that I didn't know how to reach all the different people in all the different places.
Right.
So this time around, the divine inspiration that came through was to do donor sponsored installations. So now I'm looking to meet philanthropists and people who want to make a difference in the world, who don't want to just donate X, Y, or Z amount of money to the American Cancer Society or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They want to know that what they're giving is making a difference. And by doing these donor sponsored art installations, many of these people already have relationships with people in high positions in
Right.
hospitals, medical centers,
Right.
etc. And they can say, maybe someone in their family died of childhood cancer. Maybe they decide that they want to donate one of these collections in honor of this niece or nephew or whomever had transitioned from this ailment and have it be the Susie Q, art installation. I'm just trying to be
Yeah.
generic
Yeah.
in naming it so that everybody gets the drift of it. But then they can come and I will collaborate with them and create a collection that I know would be specific if they want to put it in a children's cancer wing.
Right. And if you think about it from the hospital standpoint, it separates them out with all the competition that's out there. When someone wants to choose what hospital to go into,
Right.
it's not only just, the care that they're going to get there, but also if they walk in and they feel more at peace, that's really going to be a big decision factor.
100%. It
Yeah.
absolutely is. And now think about the fact that especially post COVID, these hospitals are understaffed.
Yeah.
And all the people who work there are super stressed.
Yeah.
Now they get to get the benefits of walking
There you
past
go.
art all the time instead of just so the patient's feeling better, the staff is feeling better, and the families that are sitting in the waiting rooms wondering what's happening with their loved ones are feeling better. So this is really designed for humans who care at a deep, passionate heart level and want to make a difference in the world. If they
Yeah.
want to make a huge difference in the world, we have an opportunity here and a way for them to do that.
Yeah. It's a win-win. I can't see why someone wouldn't want to do something like this. So that's fantastic. So if there are people who are out there who want to get involved in something like this, how would they contact you?
Well, I am going to be, because one of my other ventures right now is I'm also vice president of global brand development for Find Your Mentor,
Yep.
which is
Which is
amazing
another
online,
amazing
right?
organization.
It's an online platform that we're calling part of the cozy web.
Yeah.
So think of it as vice president, my biggest goal, and I've said this from day one, is to have this become the biggest wisdom platform on the planet.
Yeah.
That's big.
It
Like
is big.
go big or go home is kind of
Right.
my mantra.
Right. Well,
So
and this is a really unique platform because it offers so much more than a lot of other platforms, correct?
it does, because what ultimately we're going to be doing is AI matching. So it's called findyourmentor.com.
Yeah.
And we'll have finders come in and fill out a questionnaire about all the things they're looking for, all the ways they want to improve their lives. And then we'll have mentors or practitioners or healers or therapists or wisdom keepers come in and fill out their questionnaire about all their skills and what they have to offer and who their ideal client is. And then ultimately, when it's all populated, we'll have complete matching. So rather than as a practitioner, which I've dealt with, and I know you too, Lisa, over
Yeah.
the years,
Yeah.
you have the best website in the world, but if you aren't driving traffic to it and you aren't SEO optimized, it's challenging. It's just kind of sitting out there in space, floating around,
Yeah. Yeah.
hoping and wish and praying that someone finds it. So what Find Your Mentor is going to do is we're going to take the guesswork out of it for you, because our platform will be SEO optimized and AEO optimized.
And
So
what's
it,
that?
so it's and see, we're solving a problem for people like you and I who don't even
Yeah.
know it exists yet. It's it's AI optimization,
Oh.
because AI doesn't yet read graphics. So it goes to a typical
Oh.
website and sees all of this, and it doesn't understand anything but the words. So
Okay.
we've been taking trainings in how to get AEO optimization into the platform as well.
Wow.
So you don't have to worry about it. We're going to drive the traffic to you. All you have to do is come on and create a circle. So the number one place you're going to find the Art of Healing Initiative is on findyourmentor.com in my circle called the
Ah,
Art of Healing Initiative.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Because I have to say, for people who, and this isn't just for healers, right? Well,
no,
it's mentors. So if someone
right.
is an artist, a
Yeah,
photographer, anyone that has anything to teach
correct.
would want to be part of this. And people who want to learn. So, and you're matching the right types of people with the right, with the teachers, with their students per se.
Yes,
So I love this. I love this, and it's so important because one of the hardest things as an entrepreneur is people are really good at what they do. They don't want to do the marketing. They don't want to do all those other things. They want to be able to connect with people who are like-minded and not have to spend the majority of their time trying to find them, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. And when you look at where the world's at right now, I think especially post COVID, people got sick of some of the social media platforms out there.
Yes.
And I'm bold enough to say Facebook. clean up your act. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, people are fed up. It's too much advertising, too much
Yeah.
sponsored this, sponsored that. You're no longer connecting with your family and friends and even clients.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you see any of their stuff in your newsfeed.
Well, I find that with LinkedIn as well.
Yeah,
I used to be on LinkedIn a lot, and I find that the only people who are, it's not, it doesn't feel like connection anymore. It feels like someone's trying to sell me constantly.
correct.
And it
Correct.
used to be let's connect and see how we can help each other. And now it's like in my inbox, it's always people who are just really high pressure sales. And that feels really frustrating.
Right. And then, and the minute somebody gets your email address, now you're in their funnel and now you're
Yeah.
getting 50 emails a day. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Unsubscribe, unsubscribe, unsubscribe.
But not
So
all of them have unsubscribe, even though they're supposed to. I
I
still
know
get
there's
hit with
that.
them.
It's very frustrating. So what we're seeing emerging right now is what we're referring to as the new cozy web. So it's platforms like Find Your Mentor where you can come in. Folks, there's no advertising. Zip zero nada, no advertising. So you come in there looking for something, you can go and search and find it. You can search the database of mentors, or, and if you're a finder, you're not searchable. Key point, you're not searchable, so nobody's soliciting you.
Yeah.
You can go in there and say, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for this. You'll get matched up. And then those of us who are the wisdom keepers, if you will, the mentors, know that there's going to be this constant influx of
Yeah.
funders looking for what we have to offer.
And you can be both, right?
Yes,
You
you
can
can.
be both because just because I want to work with someone, let's say on the unconscious mind and some of the quantum healing work that I do, but I want to learn more about art. I want to learn more about different topics. So you can use it for both.
You can. And that's one of the main reasons I decided to launch the initiative there first,
Yeah.
because this platform is going to be full of people from all walks of life who may very well be those very philanthropists I'm looking for.
Yeah. I love this idea. I actually
Yeah,
have someone in mind to introduce you to.
excellent. I can't wait. And just to shout out, Lisa is our very first founding member of Find Your Mentor. So she'll be having a circle up there very shortly as soon as she
Yeah.
gets back from her travels.
Yes. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to really see Find Your Mentor. I know how many years has gone into the research and how thoughtful this whole project has been,
It's
and the
true.
caliber of the people who are behind it. It's really an amazing concept.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I was thrilled about the concept the minute that I heard about it.
Yeah,
It was a little over a year ago when we all met in DC.
yeah,
That phenomenal weekend. But it's when I met the other founders that I went, why would I not want to be part of it? These are
yeah,
some of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. So
yeah,
that's it's gonna be absolutely incredible.
yeah.
And I gotta add this little other piece right now is that it's like the end of the guru era. I mean, if you know what I mean by that, it's like
Yes,
we used to just all put these personal growth teachers and leaders and authors on stages and put thousands of people in a room and they became I'm look, I traveled with Hay House. I knew all of them. And
yeah,
some of them were amazing people, but there were others who were just going along for the ride on it.
yeah.
And I just, yeah,
I love how AI picked up your hand instead of
I know.
Lori first.
I had to ask a question now.
Cracks me up. You know what? I'm glad you said that because just to touch upon that subject, um, that whole setup of, the whole guru thing was when I started working on myself, I was suicidal 25 years ago. And I really thought everyone was smarter than I was. And I thought everyone knew more than I did. And so I spent years giving my power away, just waiting. Someone fix me, someone fix me, someone help me. And when you start to work with someone who has an ego and someone who's big, you start to think, okay, they know more than I do. So I'm going to do whatever they tell me, and then I'm going to be just like them.
Yeah.
And then what happens is you realize that for whatever reason and how they got to where they got there because of their own specific gifts and talents. And those aren't necessarily mine.
Right.
So I needed to find what mine were, and I had to learn to take my power back from all of those gurus and realize that we are all the same. We are all God. We are all fractals of this same being. There's no one who's better than another. We all have amazing wisdom that we have to share. Just some people have put themselves out there more than others. It takes a lot of courage to do that. It's not
It,
easy. It takes
it
a lot
does.
of practice, and some people are introverts, some people are extroverts. It all depends on your own personal way of how you, and some people don't want to be really big. Some people want to keep it small. There is no right or wrong.
No,
And there's a place for everyone in this. So it's about being humble, recognizing your genius and sharing it with one another.
100%. And that's exactly what we're doing. Because as we're moving out of the end of the guru era and into
Yeah,
relational marketing,
yeah,
Find a Mentor is a perfect platform for you to
yeah,
come in and share your wisdom.
yeah,
Share it loudly if you want to, share it quietly if you want to, but
yeah,
you're going to find your tribe.
yeah, yeah. No, and that's what it is. It's also it is your tribe. And one of the gifts that I think that's happened from COVID is the ability for people to be more comfortable online, right? On Zoom. So we can find community all around the world. I have met people and worked with people all over the world, and this helps expand that. And and so this gets us connected, but you know, it also it can be very isolating as well. If you find out, I'm wondering if you'll be able to find out, are there people who are like me nearby too? Like, will you, and then create your own community locally as well? Yeah,
Ultimately,
yeah.
we'll be getting into that. But since we're still in,
No, no,
beta
no,
phase,
but it's really more, I'm just thinking out loud from the standpoint of people have felt so isolated for so long, but to be able to connect just with people of like mind, right?
yes, yeah.
And to have a platform that's neutral, right?
Mhm.
And then you have people with all different types of interests and
Yes.
things that they want, because that's the one thing that I hear a lot from people is how isolating that, their lives are, or they can't find people who are of like mind.
It's very, very true. And I think that when COVID hit and the lockdowns occurred and we were stuck within our own four walls,
Yeah.
or at least within our own towns,
Right.
uh, when I think of who my like-minded friends are, you're in Mexico,
Yeah.
Sophia's in upstate New
New
York,
York. Yeah. We're spread all over.
we're spread all over, right?
Yeah.
And before all that, we were traveling a lot, and we can now, but it was like this period of time where people just felt so isolated. And
Yeah.
I honestly think that many people have lost the skill of proper socialization. I think they
Yeah.
forgot. And I know that sounds a little crazy because we're talking about mostly adults, so you would think that would have that all programmed in,
No,
but
it's not. And you know what? People are glued to their phones too.
oh my God, seriously, they're all within reach of us.
Yeah.
Even when I go to the gym, and I'm part of this really amazing club here. I'm so blessed. It's right down the street. And I go there, and when you're doing weights and things like that,
Mhm.
working out on these machines, you should do, a set and then rest. The minute, I mean, you would think that'd be a good time to like network with the person on the
Right, right,
machine
right.
next to you. Oh no, no, no. They're all like this, facing the phone for a minute, and then they do their next reps.
You know what's interesting because let's see, this past fall I had to go to an event that I was part of. I was speaking in Prague, and I had a connecting flight through Dublin. And there were four flights that were going out of that same area. So I got nervous because I wanted to make sure that I was at the correct gate and that the wrong, so there was a woman sitting with two other people, across from me. So I struck up a conversation, started asking about the gate. She started asking me about things that ended up, she's from the Czech Republic, lives in Ireland now. But she was going with her sisters-in-law to the Czech Republic. They'd never been. And she said, I want to now take you around and show you all around Prague. So I was going by myself for several days before I had this event. And just because I wasn't in my phone, I actually connected with someone. She made my entire experience magical because now I had people to have my meals with and laugh with, and someone who it was their home. So they toured, she gave us a tour. But here's the wild thing. So there's a woman named Renata Angelo. She was in the movie Zero Limits with me. I was there for a red carpet event. The woman who I was with, who I met, Anita, just said, so tell me about this event that you're going to. And I said, well, I'm going to be speaking at Renata Angelo's red carpet event. She said, she broke down in tears. She said, I've been following her for years. I've read all her books and I love her. And it's been my dream to meet her. And so it was crazy. And so I contacted Renata, and Renata said, "Yeah, got her in. Long story, got her in, and now they have a relationship. But this is just from not looking at your phone. I didn't want to
100%.
go on the sidetrack, but this is what connections do. This is what happens when you're with other, with people and engaging with them. Are those kinds of connections?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I've always said I
Hold
can
on,
make friends.
I hate to do this. Someone is knocking on the door here. I'm just gonna. I don't want to stop the recording here.
Just hit mute.
Hold on. All right, I'll edit this out. Hold on. Sorry about that. Hold on.
No, no worries. No
So I'm
worries.
staying I'm staying at this condo, and they're painting, and the car that we rented is right where they're painting. They don't want to splash paint, so he wants to move the car. So my apologies.
No, better to move the car than have paint get on it. That's for sure.
All right.
That
So
is for sure.
anyway, so I went on this whole long thing because the importance of find your mentor is finding your tribe.
Exactly.
Finding connections and getting away from, this is also about being of service.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely. And so when you think about it, when we all met in DC,
yeah,
it, we had this amazingly large Airbnb, and
yeah.
we weren't all sitting around on our phones. And all we
No.
did all weekend is make these connections
And laugh,
and laugh
like
and have
laugh.
fun and connect at a heart level. And now, is it four of us are in your book?
Yes.
We Are Quantum,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's coming out in just a few short months.
Yep.
So we've been all collaborating on,
Yeah.
like mine is, imagine this, art is a quantum healing tool. Shocking, I know. So that's another place you'll be able to learn more about the initiative because we're
Yeah.
gonna add that to my chapter as well.
Yes.
But I can't thank you enough for staying off your phone long enough to connect at a heart level with all of us so that we could collaborate on this amazing project together.
Yeah, yeah. When you think about, art is quantum, or there's so many different, and you talked about the biofeedback, which is quantum. People haven't been taught how important the quantum field is and how we create our own reality.
Correct.
And so the importance of really working through your unconscious mind, your blocks, because that's what Like you set the intention that you were going to do this art, but you were going to make money at it. If you had the belief that artists were poor, starving artists and could never make a living, and that was blocking you, you never would have done this work.
100%. 100%. It was that intention that opened the doors at Hay House. It was that intention that got me internationally renowned. And now I'm holding the intention that this Art of Healing initiative, which is going to just start off as a grassroots movement,
Yeah,
actually becomes a huge foundation and a movement
yeah.
in this arena.
Well,
I love talking from my heart about stuff I'm passionate about, and I am so passionate about art as a healing tool that I can't wait to be the global spokesperson for this.
no, it really is. It's a no-brainer for me. And I just think that people, when you think about our school systems and how they've taken art and music and sewing and cooking and, a lot of the basic things that we need to live, out of the schools and it's taken the whole, a lot of the creativity out. And we need to bring that back to life, and learning from each other and trading skills is, and so the combination of the find your mentor and learning from one another and being creative and having fun and making those amazing heartfelt connections. It's really important, and try and stay off your phone and meet people and talk to people. It's those connections are so important.
I often say if there was meant to be one of us, we wouldn't have a billion plus how many billions of people on the planet. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
not the way it's supposed to be. So why do we try to do it all alone? We
yeah.
don't need to. Better
And
to collaborate.
yeah, and people want to collaborate.
Oh,
They do, and we learn from each other. It's so much fun. And I've learned that with the even with the book, we are quantum. I mean, I had one person turn me down. That was it. I had over 30, I think there's up to 35 authors in this book now. And people who I didn't even who thought, oh, they're too busy, they would never want to participate. And it wasn't even a question. Dr. Joe Vitale, immediately, he had chapter to me almost the next day. I was
right,
like,
right.
so
Busy people get things done.
yes,
I
they
mean,
do.
I remember you asked me and I said, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I probably said, hell yes.
Hell yes, yeah. So, no, these kinds of collaborations are a lot of fun, and so much for people to learn from. So I'm really excited about this whole initiative, the art initiative in hospitals and healthcare. I think it's such a brilliant idea, and so I, oh my gosh, hold on, he's back. Coming.
The world wants Lisa to have to edit, apparently.
We'll edit all this out.
Yeah, I know. I just, when you were gone, I said, apparently the world wants Lisa to do more editing.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, I want to thank you so much. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you wanted to talk about today?
Oh my, you and I could talk for
Yes.
the rest of the day, but I just really want to, from my heart, say to anyone in the listening audience, if you or someone that you know really wants to create a visible, measurable impact in the real world, the Art of Healing Initiative
Yeah.
could be exactly what you're looking for.
So now you're looking for artists as well as philanthropists, correct?
Not quite yet.
Right.
I'm starting out with the body of work that I have
Okay.
just to lay the foundation. Like, let's
Yeah.
get all the kinks in the system worked out
Okay.
and how this works
Okay.
best. Um, with just myself
Yeah.
and working with the donors, and then maybe next year
Yeah.
I will bring in other artists and we'll represent them and things like that. So if there's artists out there who
Yeah.
think they might want to be part of this, they can go ahead and reach out to me
Yeah.
and I'll be happy to put you on my mailing list.
Yeah.
So you can reach out, you can see the actual art website at loridanielfalk.art,
Okay.
and you can email me at loridanielfalk.art.
So I'll have your links below. And so people understand like your art has healing capabilities. It's channeled into the art.
Yes, yes. Honestly, I connect with the divine. I ask for wisdom for this person on whatever topic it is they are looking to improve their lives around. And what happens is that the wisdom of of what they need to do gets encoded into the artwork in a way that will move the viewer at an emotional level where that wisdom honestly gets absorbed into the heart energy field and you have access to it bypassing the cognitive mind.
Wow. So what are some of the experiences that people have had from your artwork?
You know, one of the most oh like there's now we could be here for 3 more hours.
Yeah.
Um there's two main experiences that come to mind as really being profound. And one was I was at a show um, out east with not Hay House. It was a medical conference of some sort, and a woman walked into my booth, and she stood in front of this painting, and she just had to sit under it, and she looked at me and said, "What was this one designed for?" And I said it was designed to help people who have lost loved ones to suicide. And she burst into tears
Wow.
because her mom had died of suicide. And if she had gotten home 5 minutes earlier, she felt like she could have saved her mom.
Wow.
Now, just looking at that picture, she was drawn to it. She had no idea what it was for.
Amazing.
And the other experience was one that I had personally. I was actually sexually abused as a very young girl and didn't have any recollection of it until I was in my late 40s. And yet it impacted my life on in a very profound level. And anybody who's interested in hearing that story can reach out. I wrote an article on healing from the ravages of sexual abuse. But my then therapist and mentor, when I found out, I went to her and said, "What do I do?" And she said, "Well, recognition is 50% of it.
Hmm.
Now the healing can take place. But my recommendation to you would be to go home and create one of those portraits for yourself."
Wow.
And they're actually called angelic message portraits. So
Wow.
I went home and I created one, and it's not one of the most beautiful pieces I've ever done. This angel is kneeling and she's crying this infinity river of tears, which is the foundation upon
Wow.
which her life has been built. And it's not until she can speak the truth from her heart that the sun comes out around her. Well, once the painting was done, I hung it in my bedroom. Seemed like the logical place,
Right.
but I couldn't sleep. I was just agitated.
Wow.
It was too intense. And I'm going to preface all this by saying anytime you're doing healing work with the angelic realm, it's usually a lot easier. So it had, but to heal this type of deep wound, it had to be very powerful and strong. So after 2 nights of sleeplessness, I put it in the living room. And then I couldn't relax when I was sitting in the living room at the end of the day. So that didn't work. So I hung it in the foyer of the condo I was renting at the time. And I had two clients walk up the stairs into the foyer and stand in front of that painting before they walked into my office for their coaching session and started crying.
Mm.
Both of them had been sexually abused as young girls,
Wow.
and neither of
Amazing.
them knew what it was for. And they apologized profusely. And I'm like, you just showed me the power of this art. It doesn't matter if you know what the cognitive message is.
Right.
It only matters that you are viewing it and your eyes are taking emotional energy and the wisdom into your heart. And by the way, just a little key point, your heart is made up 50% of brain cells.
Mm,
So that wisdom is there in your system.
right,
You have access to it bypassing the cognitive mind. And that's just my art. There's a lot of healing artists and visionary
right.
artists, and there's so much art in the world. And I believe, it's been my long held belief, art and music will heal the world.
I agree, and that's a perfect place to end this with. So we'll have your contact information and the links below. And Lori, as always, it's such a pleasure speaking to you. And what a visionary that you're involved. Your fingers are in so many different, really special, unique things. And I'm excited to see both of them come to fruition. So thank you again so much, Lori.
Thank you, Lisa.